best quarterback he can be right now. And for them to have a solid running game, they need, in my opinion, they need Ezekiel Elliott right now.
Short-term contract, maybe. Maybe a fat, short contract.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying give him 10 years, $150 million.
That's quarterback money right there.
Yeah.
And I think Todd Gurley's contract – actually, Todd Gurley's contract's pretty big, and he's banged up. And he is banged up. Yeah. And so we'll see if he can bounce back.
I mean, I'd be happy if you think, you give Zeke maybe a 4-year contract, give him around 15 a year, around 60.
Just kind of match him up. I mean, maybe match him up with whatever.
Yeah, I'd have to look at what those numbers are. But like I said, I'd make him top 3.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, the Cowboys are probably going to have to give him what he wants unless they're ready. I don't know who his backup is. Unless they're ready to go ahead and start using that backup, or if they want to play hardball and get him a franchise tag or next year or whatever. So we'll see about that. Similar situation going on in – I was about to say San Diego, but it's Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The Chargers, similar situation going on with Melvin. Melvin Gordon, same thing, right? Yep. Melvin says he wants to be paid.
He's came out publicly and said that.
Yeah, he's been very public about it and saying that.
Again, he hasn't said anything about missing games, but he said he will miss training camp.
I'll say this, I tend to agree a little bit more with some of these running backs can be replaced just the way it depends on the scheme. Probably in San Diego or Los Angeles. For the Chargers, Melvin's more easily replaceable than a Zeke. Zeke's a better running back.
Yeah.
I think we know that, right? Melvin Gordon is a special back, but he's not special enough to hold off the team. Now, I will say this. I really do hope I hope he holds out all year, and hopefully they have to go with their backup, and that'll just help the Chiefs win the division easier.
As a Chiefs fan, you will not be mad with Melvin Gordon. He's on the sideline for those 2 games.
Then the Chargers will still be really good. Right, they still have a Hall of Fame quarterback. They still have a really good coaching staff. Still have a really good defense. But that'll just help the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to win the AFC West regardless. That'll just help their road be a little bit easier.
We are getting pretty close to doing that prediction show. As training camps are starting to open, I believe Denver opens toward the end of the week because they're playing in the Hall of Fame game.
And they're going to need that extra time.
A little birdie told me that Drew Lock had a workout this morning with his private quarterback coach before flying back to Denver today to get ready for the start of training camp this week.
Yeah, and I think earlier when we talk about Drew Lock, kind of switching subject, talk about Drew Lock, I was thinking maybe he had a shot at starting this year, but when I talk to you, and the more I think about it, they'll probably roll with Flacco all year and then go Drew Lock next year, depending on what Flacco does.
From what I'm hearing, Drew Lock is really battling for that number 2 spot right now, going into training camp.
I'm not even sure who their
I can't remember the name of the number 2 right now, but that's kind of the plan, is to get him in that backup role this year and to move on from there. And I think Flacco possibly could play well enough, and this is not a knock on Drew Lock at all, but I think Flacco can play well enough to keep that job this year and win some games. And then, maybe next year is the year where we see a lot of Drew Lock.
Yeah, the thing is, if Flacco can kind of play like sort of how Alex Smith came and played here, limit his turnovers and rely on the defense, they have a really good elite pass rush. Broncos can be a little bit scary team. Still have really good receivers. Still got Sanders. Kevin Hogan's the other. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that. Chiefs actually initially drafted him. And he was like our 4th or 5th, and they went ahead and cut him. But Kevin Hogan's got a lot of potential. I think that's a Stanford guy. I think it's Kevin Hogan's. Anyways, Flacco's got that job pretty secure. So the other holdout kind of want to talk about is actually a Chiefs guy.
Yep.
Which actually I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. It's a Chris Jones. Understandably, when I
wants
think
to get paid.
Yeah, and when I was a younger fan, when I hear about holdouts or you start talking about. You really want these players to give a hometown discount. You're young, you kind of feel like, well, they should get a hometown discount. I actually don't agree with that anymore. I think you only get to play professional sports for so long. And I think, there's 2 things you're chasing, right? You're chasing either a championship or you're chasing the money. And if you can get both, that's awesome, right? But I think while you're young, you definitely need to go for the money because you never know when you're going to get hurt. NFL money is not guaranteed, and these guys also will never make this much money in their life, not even close.
Yeah, no matter what they do after football.
No matter what, they can invest their money really well. It's still not going to. The return on investment is still not going to be as good as it is when you're playing ball.
Yeah.
So note on Chris Jones is that if he doesn't show up by August, it's either 8th, 9th, 7th, somewhere around there. He actually cannot become a free agent until the next season. This is the way the contract is structured between restricted and unrestricted, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that, but
so the Chiefs would have him for this full season.
Yeah, and so this is just this is posturing for him, and I think they, from what I've heard, they still want to get a Chris Jones deal done.
Yeah,
but they were waiting on to see what happened with Tyreek, and we won't get into that too much. But all intents and purposes, Tyreek Hill's playing this year. And we haven't seen him be reinstated yet, but I think it's going to happen.
And it's not bad on the Chiefs' part to wait and see what the NFL does do to Tyreek.
That's actually pretty smart.
Because it is a business, ultimately, at the end of the day. Kansas City Chiefs are a business organization.
Yep.
Yes, they're a football team that they want to entertain their fans, but ultimately, the bottom line is the bottom line. They're a business. They're trying to make money, as much money as they can, while putting the best product on the field for their fans.
Right.
And the other thing is here, guys, is, no conviction. It's just he said, she said,
Absolutely.
A bunch of backtracking. It seems like anybody that talks about this much or goes into any depth media-wise gets in trouble. So, same thing. I mean, if you're teaching and something happens to you, you're a teacher, right? And that's what you do. You're going to be suspended for sure if charges come up or something until whatever comes out. But if you're not guilty, you're not guilty, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you can come up with every reason in the world, but if you're looking at the law in this situation, there's character, there's other things that NFL really focuses on, behavior, but if you're just looking at the charges, there are none.
And we talked about Zeke earlier. Zeke was kind of in a similar situation a few years ago with no charges filed against him. Yeah. And, a girl that he went to college with saying he did this or he did that, and the NFL still suspended him. So
sometimes
that's why I think the Chiefs are waiting, because the NFL still could suspend Tyreek, whether he's guilty or not.
They're gonna force the hands, I think, in this situation to the NFL. But listening to Soren and his show today is as I can't remember who his guest was, but the Chiefs can't wait for this to go away. Right now, you've got the most nightmarish PR thing going on. You've got the most popular guy, ESPY award winner, Mr. Kansas City. You've got so much going this way, and then all of a sudden, boom, getting dragged down on the other side. So, right now there's around the country, there's a lot of people that know what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs organization because of all this positive and negative.
And I think they played it the right way. I think Tyreek has one more year left. Is that right? 1 more year, 2 more years. It's coming up. They were going to have to worry about paying him. Now, essentially, what they can do is they can almost not, if this is his last year or if he's got 2 years left, they can wait. They can totally wait, and it's understandable. And one thing they can do if they want, you win that Super Bowl, which I think they will this year, they can go ahead and move on from him, because they can also see what that draft pick gets them. Because they ended up drafting basically a guy similar speed, similar height. We don't know. He hasn't played an NFL snap, right? Yeah. So we don't know if he's the same guy, right? And Tyreek's a guy that's gotten better over the last 3 years.
Yeah. So you said it a ton, but you say the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. You're sticking by that right now.
We'll stick by that. And I won't say. Yeah, they're gonna win the Super Bowl this year. I think the Super Bowl is going to be Chiefs Saints. I think that's what we're going to get. It's going to be an awesome game. That's going to be another one of those 40-41 games. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Too early for me to make that prediction, but I will say this: we talked about Zeke earlier. We talked about the Cowboys. # fire Jason Garrett.
Oh, there it is.
All right. Back to the Tyreek Hill thing. Yeah. Coaches reported, I believe today, they reported to One Arrowhead Drive, got back from all their vacations and all that stuff. So they're settling in. Andy Reid will have we'll have 2 different playbooks for week 1 at least, not knowing what's going to happen with Tyreek.
Yeah,
that will, you know, he's a playbook guy, as we all know. He will be ready, and there will be somebody else to slip in that slot, I guarantee you.
And I would think that, you know, the NFL would want to make a ruling on this within the next week or so, or 2 weeks, you know, because like we said, training camps are opening, you know, later this week. Chiefs open sometime next week, I believe.
Yep.
And we want to know, you know, is Tyreek Hill going to be able to practice with his team?
Yeah.
Is he going to miss 4 games?
Yep.
Is he going to be able to practice and then, you know, miss those 4 weeks and then come back?
Yeah.
What's going on? I mean,
the faster they rule on this, probably better for the NFL in general. Just get it over with. I think he should get 0 games. For some reason I think he'll get 2.
Okay. I just threw 4 out. I wasn't saying I think he should get 4. I just threw that out.
Yeah, you know, because that's what we're thinking. Because the NFL, obviously, in the Zeke.
Yeah, they did 6.
Goodell is especially after how he mishandled the Ray Rice stuff, where waited so long.
He went heavy.
He goes heavy on everything now. So he goes heavy on everything, and really kind of want to show these guys it's not necessarily the law we're worried about. We're really also worried about you just being a knucklehead.
Yep.
Or just poor judgment, right?
And I would think, I mean, like you brought up, Jim, we have really the hottest player in all the NFL right now, Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Right here in Kansas City.
On and off the field.
Yeah. I mean that's what I'm saying, the hottest player in the whole league. So let's get this Tyreek business behind us, and let's shed some positive light, not only on the league, but here in a team that's right in the middle of the United States, which, as much as Roger Goodell wants, football is an American sport. It's not an international sport. I mean, I know he keeps trying to play all these games in London and in Mexico. Football's an American sport. We're right in the heartland. We're right in the middle of America. Let's shed a positive light on it here.
Now, is the Cowboys still America's team?
They are. Absolutely.
I think that title, Austin, is kind of fallen away a little bit. I think New England's the new Americans team. What do you think?
You think who is?
New England Patriots.
You know what? That's a tough call, right? Because there's not. I felt like in the '90s, there's a lot more guys jumping on the Cowboys bandwagon type stuff,
right?
Because they had the superstars.
Well, then
Dion came in.
Well, and it really started before that. America's team started with Tom
in the
Landry.
70s.
Yeah, that started in the '70s
because they've been so dominant. Because he's been so dominant for so long,
right.
and just. Okay, so
and
one
you
thing
know what?
The marketing
people
that Jones has done is incredible, right?
Right.
He just, the way they market the team, the way they're always on prime time, they built a huge fan base. Patriots, they're not as easily likable.
Yeah.
I actually, you know what? Without being too biased, I think there's a couple more teams that could come up and kind of replace them as the most popular
cheaters,
team.
right? Deflategate,
Patriots are cheaters,
Cameragate.
absolutely.
Yeah, see, and that's another thing too is
where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, perhaps
there's been enough.
I think that the Chiefs have a really good shot at being the most popular team with the most popular player with Mahomes, because he's just Mahomes is easily likable, really easily likable.
Oh my gosh!
And he just, when he does interviews, it's just it's not forced. He's not awkward. He's just kind of like, hey, I went to bachelor party, hanging out. I really like the way he went on Jimmy Kimmel. Did you watch that interview?
Yeah, I did.
Talks about his buddies, how his buddies want to make his, because Jimmy goes, oh, you pay for everything? And he's like, no. My buddies want to make me feel like I'm still like in middle school with these guys.
Right.
I'm like, man, he's just a likable guy.
I will say this. Let's just throw it out there. Patrick Mahomes, you have an open invite.
Well, we're going to
tag him
Midwest
on
Mike's.
All right, let's tag him on the show.
Well,
you can come on the show any day, any time.
2 years ago, about this time, you would have had him on because he was out at the T-Bones Park 2 years ago when he was the backup, and this year they're getting Mahomes Sr., Patrick Mahomes Sr. So,
that's right. You did say Mahomes Sr. is going to be there out there this Friday, right? The 19th.
This Friday. Yep. And but one last thing about America's team and all that. How many people in Dallas live in Dallas are actually from Dallas? I mean, that's the other thing. And
that number's going down.
Yeah, I mean, and it has been over the years. I mean, it's been, you've got the Ross Perot, he had the big Texas instrument. That was bringing people in the 70s. The oil, I mean, you take the Bushes, they're not from there. They were transplants. So that's kind of where that America's team came from. And
Metroplex.
We're